Lin Jichen agreed instantly. Why settle for branches when you can have the entire tree? Whisked away into the sect's magnificent inner hall, Lin Jichen saw fairyland like peaks, ancient palaces, and disciples whose weakest cultivation was higher than most outer elders. Leng Feiyan wasted no time, whisking Lin Yichen straight to the Sword Palace, the heart of the Tianyan sect. With a few calm words, she left him there to begin his training, cold and aloof as ever. But just as loneliness set in, a lively voice broke the silence. A blue-robed girl bounced in, her bells jingling as she introduced herself. Nangong Yue, a crystallization realm disciple, and now his senior sister. At first bold, she turned shy the moment she got a proper look at him, cheeks pink, words faltering. Lin Yichen, ever the smooth talker, seized the chance, complimenting her beauty and power until she couldn't stop giggling. And then came the system chime. Affection plus 10. Instant rapport. For Lin Yichen, this was huge. NPC affection wasn't just cosmetic. It unlocked quests, bonds, and even hidden paths that could change destinies. In his past life, even grinding for years barely got him to heartfelt connection with one elder. Yet here he was, only moments into meeting Nangong Yue, already raising her favor. A sign that this life, his story, would play out very differently. Lin Yichen recalled a legend from his past life, one about a love-struck player who devoted himself to an NPC senior sister. For years he cared for her, even when her cultivation was ruined and she was left crippled. 5 years of sacrifice later, she finally recovered. And her affection hit the impossible. 100 points. When the game merged with reality, she remained by his side. Their tale became one of the most famous love stories in Tale of Immortal. That story, however, proved one thing. Affection with NPCs was incredibly hard to raise. These weren't just game characters, they were ancient cultivators with strict values and guarded hearts, which made Lin Jichen's instant success with Nangong Yue all the more shocking. Smiling sweetly, Nangong Yue gifted her new junior brother a spirit-grade jade pendant, its skill able to block even a crystal realm attack if timed correctly. It was a treasure well beyond what most new disciples could dream of. And she wasn't done. She also delivered the new Intersect package. Spirit-grade robes, a sword, and a storage ring filled with 50 spirit stones. Compared to the scraps given to Outer Sect disciples, this was a royal welcome. Dressed in his new robes, the golden embroidery of the Tianyan sect shining across his chest, Lin Jishen stood taller, sharper, transformed. His very first day in the sect had already brought him treasures, allies, and opportunities. And this was only the beginning. Fresh from admiring his insane stats, 3 times stronger than the average cultivator, nearly unbreakable defense, Lin Jishen thought he was untouchable, but one wrong turn in the Sword Palace proved him very wrong. Mistaking Leng Feiyan's bedchamber for his quarters, he stepped inside, only to be blasted out by a terrifying formation. His health dropped to a sliver, blood on his lips nearly erased from existence. If not for Leng Feiyan personally deactivating the array, he'd have lost precious innate attributes forever. Cold as ever, she tossed him a powerful mysterious grade elixir as a worn gift and left him trembling, more alive than dead. Yishin, of course, immediately thought, getting nearly killed is worth it if she keeps giving me treasures. Moments later, Nangong Yue reappeared, horrified at his battered state. Seizing the chance, Lin Jichen played the pitiful victim, coughing dramatically while defending her honor. His little act worked. Her guilt turned into affection, bumping her favor to 15 points. Even better, she handed him an entire bottle of spirit-grade vitality elixirs. Jackpot. Finally, Nangong Yue led him to his personal quarters. And not just any quarters. The Sectmaster had blessed his room with an Earth-grade gathering spirit array, a cultivation hotspot 300% more efficient than anything normal disciples had. Even Nangong Yue admitted she was jealous. As she left, Lin Yichen realized something. Between the Sectmaster's gifts, his senior sister's affection, and his cheat-level cultivation speed, he was leveling up in ways no one else could. Tomorrow, Leng Feiyan would assign his first real cultivation task. Tonight, he logged off to rest, already dreaming of his next big power spike. After testing his new Earth-grade cultivation array, Lin Yichen was thrilled. His meditation speed had skyrocketed to more than 10 times the average player. Just 3 hours of AFK training was enough to max out his current stage. Terrifying indeed. Logging off, he checked his bank account. Over 1.6 million earned overnight. Without hesitation, he spent most of it on 2 top-tier gaming pods, one for himself and one for Renlan, his fiery childhood friend. When Renlan arrived, Lin Jishen teased her about spending her gym money. Big mistake. The fitness-obsessed tigress immediately pounced, pinning him down and threatening to beat him up. Yichen fought back in the only way he could, tickling her until she collapsed with laughter. But his victory was short-lived. Desperate, Renlan punched him square in the eye, turning him into a panda. As she checked the damage, their playful scuffle suddenly turned awkward. Bodies pressed close, sparks flying. Embarrassed, Lin Yichen bolted away, only to be accused of taking advantage. Beaten, humiliated, and branded a rogue, Yichen had no choice but to surrender. In the end, Renlan stood triumphant, while he grumbled in silence. So much for being an overpowered cultivator. In the real world, he was still no match for this wild tigress. Lin Yichen receives a delivery. 2 brand new gaming pods, one for himself and one for Renlan. She's shocked at the gift, teasing him about where the money came from, until he explains it was all earned in-game. Excited, Renlan decides to keep hers at Lin Yixin's place and starts imagining how much she'll play during the school break. Lin Yixin, meanwhile, admires his own top-of-the-line pod, capable of sustaining a player for days without logging off. It's his first time owning one, and he's eager to dive in. After some lighthearted banter and giving Renlan a spare key, Lin Yixin prepares to rest before his next in-game battle. At the Tianyan Sword Sect's Grand Hall, Lin Yixin greets his master, Leng Feiyan. She notices he's at the verge of a breakthrough, but explains he'll need a gathering chi pill. 4 grades exist, and the rarest is the top-grade pill, something most players would never even see. Leng Feiyan reveals she has one but won't hand it over so easily. Instead, she warns that cultivation alone isn't enough. True strength comes from battle experience. Without it, even a high-realm cultivator could be defeated by a skilled opponent. Lin Yixin fully agrees, recalling his past life where combat talent mattered more than money or equipment. His words impress Leng Feiyan, even raising her affection toward him. She then sets a test. Lin Yixin must accept and complete a difficult mission from the sect's outer temple before she'll grant him the pill. Before leaving, she also imparts the sect's core technique, the Tianyan Heart Sutra, boosting his combat abilities. Exiting the inner temple, Lin Yixin notices new players joining the sect. His earlier sale of hidden information to Su Wanling's Moonshadow Guild is already paying off for them, giving her guild a valuable head start over the rest. While browsing the sect grounds, Lin Yixin unexpectedly runs into Su Wanling, the guild leader he once sold valuable information to. She tries chatting with him, but as usual, he slips away quickly, leaving her friends to tease that even someone as beautiful as Wanling can't catch his attention. Lin Yixin then arrives at the mission hall, where disciples crowd around a giant board of quests. Most players are busy farming contribution points for the Tianyan Heart Sutra. The easier quests involve gathering herbs or killing weak beasts, while harder ones scale up to dangerous hunts. But Lin Yixin's eyes lock onto the very top. A hell-level mission. The task demands avenging a fallen disciple and retrieving a stolen secret technique, with rewards including spirit stone, equipment, and even a high-grade gathering chi pill. The catch? The culprit is suspected to be a late-stage chi refining cultivator, far beyond the reach of most players. Everyone watching mocks Lin Yixin for even touching the plaque. To them, he's either showing off or signing his own death sentence. Yet instead of backing down, Lin Yixin calmly hands it to the registrar. Shock spreads as the Foundation Establishment NPC, normally arrogant to beginners, treats him with unusual respect, all because of the inner disciple's robes he wears. While others can only whisper and speculate, Lin Yixin has already set himself on a path no one else dares to tread. Lin Yixin ignored the warnings of other disciples and took on his mission anyway. Using spirit stones, he traveled through the teleportation array to Fengku City, the largest city in Muxian province. The city was vast and prosperous, filled with both mortals and cultivators living under strict laws of the ruling dynasty. After paying the entry fee, Lin Yixin made his way through the busy streets toward the famous Drunken Immortal Pavilion. There, he ordered a pot of jade ice brew, wine that could temporarily boost strength and defense, and waited as the tavern filled with evening crowds. Soon, a storyteller appeared and began sharing news and rumors from across the province. Some were serious, like sect alliances or massacres, while others were scandalous tales of sect leaders and disciples. Lin Yixin listened quietly, knowing this was the real reason he had come. At the Drunken Immortal Pavilion, Lin Yixin listened to a storyteller who shared recent events across the province. Among the news, he finally heard what he was waiting for. Zhang Hai, a disciple of the Tianyan Sword Sect, had been killed by Zhou Hao, a late-stage chi-refining loose cultivator from the demonic path. Lin Yixin approached the storyteller, who revealed himself as Li Si, an information broker. For spirit stones, Li Si told him where Zhou Hao could be found, the brothels of Fengku City. For an extra fee, he also warned that Zhou Hao's older brother, Zhou Shen, was a Foundation Establishment cultivator, something Lin Yixin had to watch out for. To confirm Zhou Hao's identity, Lin Yixin disguised himself and entered the Autumn Moon Pavilion. His appearance caused a huge stir among the girls, who swarmed him with affection, even offering themselves for free. Amid the commotion, Zhou Hao revealed himself upstairs, confirming his identity. Lin Yixin didn't act immediately, knowing a fight in the city would only draw royal guards. Instead, he waited outside. Soon enough, Zhou Hao left the brothel and slipped out of Fengku City. Thinking he had escaped unnoticed, he didn't realize Lin Yixin was already following closely in the shadows. Under the moonlit forest, Zhou Hao realized someone was tailing him, only to find Lin Yixin stepping out from the shadows, calmly declaring he was here for Zhou Hao's life. At first, Zhou Hao scoffed, thinking this was just some weak early-stage disciple, but the moment their blades clashed, his confidence began to crumble. No matter how ferociously Zhou Hao swung his thunderblade, every strike landed uselessly against Lin Yixin's defenses. Even his strongest move, the Wild Blade Slash, was easily blocked thanks to Lin Yixin's Jade Pendant Shield. The more Zhou Hao attacked, the more desperate he became. How could a supposed novice be this untouchable? Finally, Lin Yixin stopped holding back. With one clean strike, he slashed Zhou Hao's shoulder, blood flowing as his health points dropped. The truth was obvious. Even though Zhou Hao was late-stage chi refining, his stats and techniques were pitiful compared to Lin Yixin's overwhelming strength. Zhou Hao had entered the fight thinking his opponent was prey. But now, cornered and bleeding, he realized he was the one being hunted. Zhou Hao's last attempt to flee ended in failure as Lin Jichen's sword pierced his neck, leaving him bloodied and begging for mercy. Just when he thought he could bargain his way out, a powerful blade aura suddenly tore through the forest. Zhou Hao's older brother, Zhou Shen, had arrived. Unlike Zhou Hao, Zhou Shen was a Foundation establishment cultivator, radiating a crushing aura. Zhou Shen scolded his foolish brother, but quickly turned his attention to Lin Jichen, mocking him for being just a qi refining novice. He demanded Lin Jichen hand over his treasures, but Lin Jichen refused. In one swift strike, Lin Jichen finished Zhou Hao, shocking Zhou Shen and igniting his fury. The two clashed, sword and blade ringing through the forest. Lin Jichen relied on his combat experience to hold his ground, but Zhou Shen's overwhelming stats and realm made every exchange dangerous. Even with clever strikes, like piercing through Zhou Shen's chest and triggering armor break, Lin Jichen struggled under the relentless pressure. As Zhou Shen unleashed the terrifying Broad Moon Blade technique, filling the forest with a storm of blade shadows, Lin Jichen realized he was truly facing a deadly Foundation establishment opponent far beyond Zhou Hao. Lin Jichen found himself cornered. No sword techniques, spirit shield still on cooldown, and his health already down by a third. For anyone else, that would mean certain death. But for Lin Jichen, death wasn't an option. His talent meant every death would permanently weaken him, so he gambled everything on a single elixir, the purple jade elixir. The moment he swallowed it, his strength and defense skyrocketed, surpassing even Zhou Shen. And oh, the look on Zhou Shen's face when his blade kept missing. It was priceless. Lin Jichen simply grinned. All I need to do is kill you before the timer runs out. With newfound speed, Lin Jichen tore through Zhou Shen's defenses. Even Zhou Hao's desperate last stand ended in a single brutal strike, his body falling lifeless to the ground. Zhou Shen, enraged by his brother's death, unleashed his trump card, 100 Fierce Flame Slash. The sky itself seemed to burn as the flaming blade ripped the forest apart, blasting Lin Jichen with nearly 1,000 damage. Yet, even half-dead, Lin Jichen refused to fall. He rose, eyes blazing, his strikes now sharper, faster, almost as if he was discovering true sword intent mid-battle. Zhou Shen, still bleeding and on the defensive, realized too late. This wasn't a fight he could win. The clash with Zhou Shen finally ended in Lin Jichen's victory, though only by a hair's breadth. His purple jade elixir wore off, leaving him drained. But with one decisive phantom step, he turned Zhou Shen's own attack against him, slicing his throat and ending the fight. Exhausted, Lin Jichen recovered with pills and turned to the spoils of war. His absurd luck paid off. Zhou Shen dropped 3 full pieces of spirit-grade equipment and even the terrifying 100 Fierce Flame Slash skill book, though sadly it was limited to blade cultivators. Zhou Hao, meanwhile, had little to offer, except one hidden gem, Mist Piercing Charge, a movement skill that not only boosts speed, but can break free from control effects. A skill so practical, Lin Jichen immediately learned it. Fresh from victory, Lin Yishen returned to Fengku City, bought a few modest gifts, because even if the sect master wanted up for nothing, respect was everything, and then reported back to the Tianyan Sword Sect. When he handed in his mission token, the disciples nearly fainted. A hell-level mission? Completed? On his first try? The crowd buzzed in disbelief, until the elder in charge arrived. This elder, usually so stern he was nicknamed Old Stoneface, did the unthinkable. He smiled. Why? Because Lin Yichen wasn't just any disciple. He was the disciple, the sectmaster's one and only student. The entire sect froze in shock. Players gawked, their jealousy and envy boiling over as the elder personally handed Lin Jishen his rich rewards. Spirit stones, contribution points, rare gear, and elixirs. While others were still struggling with basic tasks, Lin Jishen walked away as the chosen disciple of the sect leader. For the Outer Temple players, this was no longer just admiration. It was devastation. Lin Yichen wasn't just ahead, he was playing an entirely different game. Back in the Sword Palace, Lin Yichen thought he could finally rest. But who should appear under the moonlight? Leng Feiyan herself, radiant, graceful, and yet cold as frost. Her beauty alone could silence a hall, but her words carried steel. Why did you risk a hell-level mission? Do you realize what losing you would mean for the sect? Lin Yishen quickly admitted fault, earning both a scolding and unexpected rewards. Not only did Leng Feiyan give him a soul-protecting talisman, but she also handed over 2 superior gathering chi pills, treasures that could shatter bottlenecks in cultivation. To Lin Yichen, it felt like heaven itself had smiled. This was the advantage of being the sectmaster's disciple. And then came the boldest move of the night. Lin Jichen nervously offered Leng Feiyan a simple hairpin he had bought as a gift. For anyone else, such a gesture would have been courting death. But Leng Feiyan, after a long hesitation, actually accepted. The system chimed. Her affection rose by 5